Okay, let us just start this. So if you remember, last class we were just started decision tree. So we mentioned decision tree is a supervised algorithm and it's a classification algorithm where of course you may see regression trees, but then usually decision tree is an algorithm which is being developed for classification problems. So we discussed that decision tree is like any normal other tree which you have learned, where you have nodes and then where you have root nodes, intermediate nodes, and leaf nodes. In our decision tree, we have other nodes which are the attributes on which we have split, and the branches are your values of those attributes. And then finally, we have the leaf nodes where it is our class labels. Okay, so we just saw one or two examples. And given a decision tree, how would you predict? Like say an unseen sample has arrived, and then you have, like say you had a training data and you built a decision tree. Now, when you get an unseen sample, which is a query sample or a test sample, how does it predict? So we even saw that. So for example, in this case, if you see body temperature is warm, so it goes to this branch and then gives birth is snow. So it takes this as the class label. It predicts the class label as non-mammals. So when we say, like say for example, in this sorry in this decision tree, we can say the person is employed and credit score is low, then reject the loan status. I mean loan application. Similarly, we can say if the person is employed and income is high, then um, um, approve the loan application. So here it is not employed. I think I mentioned it wrong. So this is the way how you will interpret from your decision tree, which is built from your training data. Okay. So we even discussed about numerical attributes. So we may have attributes which are not discrete. Your decision tree needs those to be discrete values. So if there are continuous values, we may have to convert it to discrete values. So how do you split? How do you decide on what value to split? Maybe a mean can be one option, like say if age takes a value of 0 to 100, we can say above 50, below 50. That is one choice. Or based on the domain, like whether that attribute has more importance and we don't want to actually lose that much information. So maybe we'll give 3 or 4 splits, discrete values for that, something of that sort. So this is another decision tree which is constructed. So what we were discussing was our interest is actually to build short decision tree which can best fit the data. So like say if we have developed or built some 3 decision trees from the same data, it can be possible. Sometimes there would be a tie or there could be other reasons where we can come up with different decision trees. So out of which one to choose? So that of course would be the choice would be based on the how large is our tree. So we would usually prefer the best, which is the smallest tree. Okay, so that is what we have to be keeping in mind. So there was some example data and they had shown some possible splits. As of now, we don't know any measure which will decide the split of our attribute. So which attribute to select? So we don't know that. So we're just seeing maybe length was the attribute to be split. So if we had selected length as the attribute to be split, what could happen? Similarly, this. And then we discussed which would be better, like how would you choose? So there were arguments from your side. I am audible, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
ma'am.
Thank you. So we even had discussions like, say, one of you said that it is splitting equally. Maybe in our interest, it is not so interesting in particular decision tree. We'll have some more discussion on that, so you will get to know why it is not so interesting for us. And one obvious reason here could be, if you see in this case, you can see that if you consider this length split, it is actually reaching a leaf node, which is the class labels are all, that is all the instances are belonging to the same class if you split based on length. So at just this one branch itself, the first branch itself, we are able to reach a leaf node. So it is like a shorter tree. Then this might be still split further. This also would be still split further. So which would be a larger tree. And we understand that we are looking for smaller trees which would best fit our data. So this would be more interesting to us, the first one, this one. Okay, so that we had discussed. And another thing what we discussed was from the same example data, training data, what was shown in the previous slide. They have developed, I mean, they have just shown two sample decision trees. So the first decision tree, if you consider, we have, so length is anyway, I mean, sorry, length, both are having the root attribute as length. And of course, length, when you take left side, everything is going to the same class when you have long value. And then the right side, when you have short value, it was actually, if you can see here, it is not, all the instances are not belonging to the same class. So we still further split. Again we split, and finally we reach the leaf node where each instance belongs to a particular class. Okay. But what happens is, if you have noticed in the previous slide, we discussed this, I am just repeating. So if we have noticed the previous, that is this example, what happens is in this branch, if you can see, that 9 of them belongs to read. Only 2 are belonging to skip. Okay. So we can, if we want, generalize and tell that all these are reds. So that is what has happened here. They are telling it is read class, but with a probability 0.82, because there is some 2 instances which are belonging to the other class. So this is also possible. We don't want to like minutely fit the data and like come up with something like this, where every instance is actually every leaf node is actually having instance belonging to the same class. But what happens is we are trying to somehow generalize and come up with a smaller tree, shorter tree. So when we say short tree, the depth should be less, also the number of nodes. That's what we are talking. So this is also possible. So we may always not go till the last node, in the sense every instance being falling to the same class, etc. is not our criteria always. Our aim is to build little generalized tree so that we don't grow further and make it so like exactly fitting your training data, and we try to kind of generalize. So in this case, can one of you just say what is this actually doing? What is the problem with this kind of a tree? Can somebody say me? The first one. Anyone? Just guess it. It's okay. My question is, what could be the... Yeah, overfitting, correct. So when we say overfitting, what is overfitting? You're trying to exactly fit your training data. So for training data, if you try to find the error would be 0. But then when you get an unseen sample, it won't be able to predict well, because you have too specifically learned your training data and you are not generalizing it. So training error is minimal or 0, but then testing error would be high. Whereas when you generalize more, a little bit more, sorry, your training data might have, like if you try to find the error, that is your training error, might be little, it won't be 0, but then your testing error also won't be so high. So we should choose a model which can predict our test data also well. Okay, our aim is not just to fit the training data and sit. Our aim is to predict the unseen sample well. So that is why we'll always try to avoid overfitting, whichever algorithm let it be, whether it's a KNN, whether it's a decision tree or whatever, we try to avoid overfitting. So maybe we can say this is kind of overfitting. Here we have some kind of error, but we say, so there will be some threshold. Okay, so it is not that like say for example in this case, if we have 5 skips and 5 reads, we'll just put 0.5 and then just tell reads with probability 0.5. Not like that. The probability should be above some cutoff would be there. Only then we can stop it. Okay. I hope this is clear. If anything, you please stop me and ask. So this is the basic algorithm for our decision tree. So we choose the best decision node. We'll see how it is. And then after that, we'll try to find a descendant of the node and then find sort all the training examples to that particular. We'll see it actually as example. That's more better than our ID3, C4.5, etc. are different algorithms. Okay, they have different measures as for choosing the best attribute. Okay. So when to stop? So like say you're growing the tree further and further. When to stop growing the tree? So one condition is you don't have any input features to split. So by like see when I am showing examples, it might be like 2-3 attributes. It looks very simple, but it could happen for like say more number of attributes also. You are growing the tree large number of data also. So when your tree keep growing the tree, at some point of time you don't have any more attributes, you may have to stop. Similarly, there all the examples like the previous example, if you remember, all the examples or instances are belonging to the same class. Then also we stop. Or also if you don't have enough samples to make an informative split. So that is also one case. Like if you have only 1 or 2 samples and it is not making any sense, you may stop further growing the tree. Now, which test to split? So we'll see this again in the next slides. Which attribute to choose? How do you decide? Okay. So this is just an example. So we have say attribute like this and it takes some values. We have 21 plus 5 minus. Similarly, we have some what is this plus minus? Our positive class, negative class, like one class and the other class we can take whether it belongs to this class or not, something like that. Okay, so which one to choose? Okay, so we have certain algorithms, certain measures to decide on which attribute to choose. Okay, so that is actually information gain is what we will look when we solve the problems. There are other measures which we will just mention about. Okay, so information gain is what we are going to deal with. So before we talk about information gain, I want to discuss what is entropy. So what is entropy? You all have heard about entropy in somewhere in other courses.
Yes, ma'am. The instability.
Yes, yes.
Disturbance.
Yes, the disturbance or disorderness or some kind of uncertainty, all these we can relate it to randomness or all these we can say it as entropy, isn't it? So if you can see here, in this example, P plus means positive, negative means it need not be always positive, negative. But when you have a binary classification problem, we can say that it is that class or not. Like the patient is cancer, we can say it is positive and then negative is not cancerous. Similarly, if you say mail is spam, that we can say as positive and then negative is not spam, something like that. So usually for binary, it is like that, isn't it? Yes or no kind. So that is why it is termed as positive, negative examples. So if you have S as the same whole training examples, and then say if P plus is the proportion, it's not number, it's the proportion of positive examples. P minus is the proportion of negative examples. And what happens is you try to find the entropy, okay, in using this formula, that is minus P plus log P plus to the base 2 minus P minus log P minus to the base 2. Okay, so what happens is, if you can see here, can we even substitute here in this formula and check, like say for example, always if you get confused with how to remember, what you can think is when all samples are belonging to the same class, it is very obvious. There is no uncertainty or confusion or disorder, isn't it? Everyone is belonging. If you take like say one group and all are say CSE students, there is no confusion in that. All are in CSE only. So then we say entropy is 0. So maybe all are belonging to positive class or all are belonging to negative class. Either of these cases, we say entropy is 0. Okay. But when do we have a high entropy? Can somebody guess? Based on this formula, maybe you can tell, or just with your knowledge. I have positive samples, negative samples. When do you feel you have entropy high?
An equal proportion is there.
Yes, 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 exactly. So when you have equal number of samples for both positive and negative, that is half, isn't it? So the proportion would be half. So what happens in this formula? It would be what? So the proportion is half. So both P plus and P minus would become half. So it would be minus half log half. So what would be log 1 by 2 to the base 2? How would you calculate log 2? We can write it as 2, 1 by 2, we can write it as 2 power minus 1. So we write it as log 2, 2 power minus 1. So we can write it as, what would be the log value of 2 power minus 1? Minus 1, isn't it? So log value would be minus 1 in both these cases because log half would be minus 1. Okay, just substitute and see yourself, you will get to know why it is. So minus 1 in both these cases. So minus half into minus 1 will become half. Similarly here also. So half plus half is 1. 1 is the maximum entropy. That is what is shown. If the proportion is 0.5, entropy is high. Okay, so that why is it so? What we mentioned initially, this disorderness or the uncertainty, okay, or randomness. It is high when you have equal number of both classes because you don't know which would be what, because it is uncertain, like equally likely you can say, or any outcome is equally possible. So then you have the highest entropy. So 1 is the maximum entropy when you have equal number of samples in both the classes. When you have one of these classes, that is all the instances belong to maybe positive class or negative class, in both the cases our entropy is 0 because it's obvious, it is direct, there is no uncertainty, it is certain. So you know that all the samples are surely what is that, say positive. So any sample you take, obviously it is positive. So there is no uncertainty, there is no disorder in the system. So then we say entropy is 0. So our intention is to bring down this entropy. Okay. So just understand. Yeah, yeah.
Even if there are many classes, classifications, then also entropy is maximum, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was talking about just two class problem, right? So when I'm saying, when you have many classes also, if all the instances are falling to one class, your entropy is still 0. But if you have say 3 classes and like our distribution is 1 by 3, 1 by 3, 1 by 3, something like that, you would have high entropy because all are having equal chance of getting, I mean, belonging to the class. So then you have high entropy. So like say for example, you have say 18 samples and we have 3 class problem. Now if 2 samples are belonging to one class and or say one class, say class A has one instance, class B has one instance and class C has remaining 18 instance, entropy is less, isn't it? Because mostly it is going to again class 3 itself. We can't say entropy is high. So just because it is, we have 3 class problem or multi-class problem, we cannot say entropy is high. It depends on how it is distributed. So how many, so that is why they have mentioned if any outcome is equally possible, then you have a high entropy. So whether it be a multi-class problem or a 2-class problem, if you have equal number of samples or approximately equal number of samples in all the classes, of course you will have high entropy. Is that fine?
Ma'am, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So so that is what we say about entropy. So when always you should remember that point, that is when we talk about a 2-class problem, positive samples and negative samples, if one of, I mean all the instances are belonging to one class, of course or say we can say all instances are positive examples, then of course entropy is 0, or all instances are negative, of course entropy is again 0. It is high only when you have equal number of both samples, and like you have other proportions, then it would be entropy would be somewhere between 0 and 1. Okay, so that is how it is. And then now this is the same thing they have just shown. So we have some blue points which are say positive, and then say green yellow points which are say negative. So here we have say kind of almost equally likely situation, so the entropy would be high. Here we almost have like some samples are there from the other class, there is an entropy which may be little close to 0. But then here if you can see, your entropy is exactly 0 because all the instances are belonging to the same class. Okay, we even say less impure node. Okay, so impure in the sense we have a mixture of things. Okay, so but if it's the same content like all positive samples, then there is no impurity. That way also you may read in some books. Okay, so this is actually, this entropy concept is taken from the information theory, information coding theory concept. Okay, so let us see what, so this is just repetition of what we mentioned already. You can just read it. So what is an information gain? Sorry. So what is information gain? We are trying to have a measure which is trying to reduce the entropy after partitioning that particular attribute. So my question is, how will we have the information? Like where will we have more information? When we have high entropy or low entropy? How do you feel? So in this class, in these three cases, which would be a highly informative node in these, A, B or C? I mean, not node, what I mean to say is which case, A, B or C? We can say node also, like let it be, this be a node, this be a node, this be a node, that way. So in this case, we have high lot of information, or in this we have a lot of information. Can you just guess? You got my question, right? How do you feel? Let it be wrong, it's okay. You guess whatever
See,
you feel.
ma'am.
A. Yeah, so of course, so, can you say me why you felt C is the node which would have a lot of information?
Because all the points belong to the same class.
Okay, what about somebody else who told A?
Ma'am, there's equal distribution, so you can divide better.
Divide better. Okay. Anybody else? In real example also you can just think. Okay, if it's a normal pattern, like say all are coming to college going back, or say everybody is traveling from work to home. So there is no every, isn't it? Like say for example, or say flights. I am taking an example of flight. So I have say 1,000 data where the flight has started from a place and reached a destination successfully. So think in a point of say a news channel, or maybe like a common man who watches the news. Would you be interested when you have situations where everything is same, or you have some disturbances there? So usually you would like to know some information or some news is there when you have other things also, isn't it? So we are not saying that some accident should happen, but say if you get a news like there were 2 planes hijacked, so of course we will look into it, isn't it? So something of that sort. That is not exactly how it is related, but I'm saying, so when you have same kind of data, we don't have much information here. Okay, we already know, like say for example in this case, our decision tree itself, here we already know that all are belonging to this. Now we don't have to even go further, because already we know that age is whenever age is 31 to 40, it is yes. We will not even think whether we need to consider any other attribute, because we already understood. So there is no more information for you to get, because it is obvious everything is falling under same class. We don't have to, it is obviously known to us. Okay, whereas when you have some other patterns in it, so we are interested to know what is that, what is the difference. So when we say in this case, we say A is having a lot of information. Okay, so because we have other things, it's not certain. So there is some uncertainty. So we are interested to know what is it, how is it, etc. Okay, so that sense you should think. Of course, your thinking is also not wrong, but then in this respect, I mean, in this context, when we say some new information is not there in this, it is obvious that all are in the same class. So there is no new information what you will get from this. So we are not interested in this. We are interested in this because there is some kind of disorder. We are interested in looking what is that disorder. And when you have equally likely situation, any sample you take, it can be any of this. There is equal probability. So there is like a lot of uncertainty. So we are interested in that. Yes, somebody else was trying to.
No, ma'am. That
Yeah.
only. But the
Yeah.
ultimate aim is
To bring
the
down the
entropy is
entropy.
less, no, ma'am.
Yes, our aim is to bring down the entropy, but then when you will bring down the entropy down, only if it is high, isn't it? If the entropy is already low, we'll keep it there. We don't grow our decision tree or do anything. So our aim is to reach a level where all entropy is low. There is no disorder in the system. That is when you can say, I'll repeat that when we reach there, but I'm just telling. In this case, if you can think, here actually, can you say what would be the entropy here? All the instances are belonging to class yes. Maybe you can say positive class. What could be the entropy here?
0.
0, because all are belonging to the same class. So we don't further split because already we have reached to a state where entropy is 0 or minimal. So we stop. But previous node when we took, okay, there would be enough entropy because there were 3 values and there were like positive and negative samples. Like if you consider age, there are positive and negative samples and there is a disorder on entropy. So we try to split and bring that entropy down. That is how we draw our decision tree. To tell that only we are talking about entropy. So there is a disorder or uncertainty in the system. Finally, what we have to build? We have to build a model that is certain, isn't it? At least to some extent. So that when you get a new sample, it is able to certainly tell that this particular attribute is there and this particular attribute is taking so and so value. So I can say to this certain level that the model can say that it belongs to this class. That is the certainty what we are looking for. But initially you may not have that. So that uncertainty you're bringing down to a certainty level. Is that more clear now?
Ma'am.
We'll solve the questions and like more again we'll discuss. So I think it will be a little more clear. So understand the basic concept. Entropy is high, we try to bring it down. So entropy is high and we have equal when there is more uncertainty, and when like in this case when we have positive and negative samples, we say when they are equally likely, that is we have same proportion of positive and negative samples, we say entropy is high. Okay, so for the information gain, the formula, so that is the measure what we are going to use, entropy, so information gain, where S is your training samples and A is your set of examples and your A is your attribute. So each attribute you are supposed to find the information gain, and whichever has maximum information, you can think that way. Maximum information we split based on that. So how do you find that? It is entropy minus sigma P, where V are the different values of A, SV by S, that is the proportion of that particular value and the entropy of that particular S. Okay, SV. Okay, so this is the way we will calculate the gain. So there is a this particular assume there is a attribute like this. Okay, so where we have 29 positive samples and 35 negative samples. Okay, and we have two values possible for it. One is true, one is false. So how do we find the entropy for this attribute? I mean the entire system. Initially the entropy is for the entire system. We find the gain and then we find the difference. So for the information gain of this. So what is the entropy of this system? We have 29 positive samples, 35 negative samples. How do we find the entropy? Total samples are 64. How do we find the entropy? One of you should tell me. Anybody? You always want some same people to answer. Somebody else can also answer. My question is, We have 64 samples. We have 29 positive and 35 negative. So how do we find the entropy? Entropy formula was written here as minus P plus log P plus minus P minus log P minus. So now P plus is, what is that? 29 and P minus is 35. Can you tell now? What happened? Nobody is. Somebody tell me. You just tell the formula, that's enough. Like just substitute and tell. You don't have to tell me the value and all.
And proportion is minus 29 by 60. Okay. Tell.
Yeah. One of you. Okay, you can tell the positive part and she can tell the second term.
Yeah, ma'am. First part is how many positive? So the 35.
Yeah, so 29
29
positive, right? Yeah,
60.
29. Yeah, 29 by 64.
64.
That is the proportion. And log to?
Log to the base 2, since 2 classes.
Yeah, so 29 by 64. So this is, you have a minus in front, you should not forget. And what about the other term? Somebody else was answering actually.
Yes, ma'am. Similarly, we will be having minus 35 log 35 to the base 2.
Not 35, 35 by 64. It's the proportion, not the number of samples. See? Okay. Good that you told it that way so that others also would have noticed. So see, this P plus and P minus, what we are saying is not number of samples, it is proportion. So 29 by 64, 35 by 64 is our proportion. Okay. So don't get confused. So you got some value like 0.99. Okay. Now what is the next step? We were given an attribute A1 and we have two values, which is true and false. Okay. And they have given that when it is taking the value true, it has 21 positive and 5 negative. Okay. Similarly, when it takes the value false, so it has two values, and each of these cases, what happens? Like how many positive, how many negative, that is given to you. So how do we find the gain? So gain of S comma A1. A1 is your this attribute will be entropy of S, which we already calculated for the entire system, minus 26 by 64. Why 26? That is when it is true. Okay, first value is true. So how many what is the proportion of true values? So that is 26 by 64. And out of this 26, how many are positive, how many are negative? Similarly, the next term would be for the other value of this attribute. That is, because we told, no, this for each value of A. So that is what we are finding now. So similarly, 38 by 64 into entropy of, in that 38, how many positive, how many negative. Okay. So that entropy again you have to find. So they have calculated. We'll calculate again. Don't worry. I'm just showing an example. So similarly for the other attribute also they have calculated. Now which one? So the information gain of A1 is 0.27. Information gain of A2 is 0.12. So which would be the attribute which we choose to split, or we can say which is the attribute which would have high information? So that is this. Okay, so this is having high information gain, so we split on this attribute. Okay, A1, not on A2. Okay, so this is how we'll move further in our decision tree. So let us see for an example. And for first attribute, the root attribute, I'll show you, and then maybe the next you can tell me. Okay. Okay. So this is the attribute. It's a typical example of what you can see in your what is that? Machine learning problems, like the typical what is that, weather is given and then play tennis or not. That is one example usually given in all the machine learning books, the basic problem. Similarly this also. Now these are different attributes, and this is your class label, you can say, or the prediction. We don't say prediction, that is for continuous values. This is your class. Okay, so we have four attributes. Age, actually the age is a continuous value, but they have discretized or categorized it to three different groups: less than 30, 31 to 40, and greater than 40. So that is three category. Age is having three values. Income is taking three values: in high, medium, and low. Student, whether the person is student or not. credit rating fair or excellent, and then finally the class is whether the person buys computer or not. Okay, so when they have just given a clue, that is, I mean, clue in the sense how we go forward. So class P, which is positive class, means buys computer equal to S, negative class means buys computer equal to no. Can you tell me how we are going to find the entropy of this data? Out of this total 14 samples, how many are yes, how many are no? We have to identify. Okay, so each class we are going to identify. So how many are yes? We have 9 yes cases. So we take 9 by 14. That is the proportion for positive examples. So minus 9 by 14 log 9 by 14. That is the first term. Now for the negative proportion, that is 5 samples out of 14. That is the proportion. So 5 by 14 log 5 by 14. Okay, so this would be our entropy of this system. Okay, that is calculated as 0.94. What would be the next step? We have to find for each of this attribute. We have 4 attributes, that is age, income, student, credit rating. We have to, what is our aim? We need to know, now we are going to build a decision tree, construct a decision tree, isn't it? So we have 4 attributes. We need to know which should be chosen as a root node. That is our first step, isn't it? So when we say which is our root node, we need to find the information gain. So that means the first node to split. Okay, so which is the best node to split first? So for that we need to find the information gain of all these 4 nodes, and whichever is coming high, we need to split based on that. Okay, so let us find. So gain of age. So till here it is fine. No, I'll just show this also. Maybe we'll repeat in the next class also once. So gain of S comma age. Okay, so that is, we understand that the formula. Just a second. Yeah, just show my, I mean, change my pointer. Yeah. So gain formula is this: entropy minus V sigma V values, that is different values of A, SP by S, that is the proportion of that particular value, and then the entropy. Okay, so like this we write, and then we substitute and find the value. So what is it? What for particular attribute called age? How do you find it? Entropy of S, that is the entire system's entropy, minus the first value of age. Okay, whether you can take, we have 3 values for age, which is less than 30, 31 to 40, greater than 40. Okay, anyone you can take. So assume that I am taking for less than 30. Okay, how do you find this? What is this term? For less than 30, how many instances are there in the data? Can you tell me how many instances are there? What is the proportion, or how many instances are there in your data set which are less than 30, less than or equal to 30? Can you tell me how many? One of you just say, how many instances we have less than or equal to 30? 5, isn't it? So the proportion becomes, we have total 14 instances, out of which 5 are less than or equal to 30. Okay, so the proportion is 5 by 14. Now in this 5, how many are positive, how many are negative? Positive, negative means the class is yes or no. So we have 5 by 4, the proportion of this particular attribute value, that is less than or equal to 30 for this attribute. First we are talking about age only. Okay, so the first value of age is less than or equal to 30. In that, how many instances are there? It is 5 out of 14. And in that 5, how many are yes, how many are no? Can you tell me? That is, you are going to see in this data set, wherever you have age less than or equal to 30, how many are coming as yes, how many are coming as no? Somebody find and tell me, out of this 5, how many are positive, how many are negative?
3 negative and 2 positive.
3 negative and 2 positive. Okay, so that is what is written here. Okay, so we have 5 with less than or equal to 30. Okay, out of the 14 instances, that is the proportion. And then what do you write? Entropy of, in this 5, how many positive, how many negative? Okay, now the next term, that is, this was for value called, I mean, value of age which is less than or equal to 30. Next we have 31 to 40. So for that, how do you find? It is, we have to see how many are there which are 31 to 40. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we have 4 instances out of 14. So 4 by 14, that is the proportion. And in this 4, how many are yes, how many are no? How many are positive, how many are negative? In 31 to 40. One of you please tell. Somebody can say. We have 4 instances which have 31 to 40, out of which how many are positive, how many are negative?
All are positive.
All are positive. So we'll write 4 positive, 0 negative. Okay, so that is what we have written. So entropy of 4 plus 0 minus. So it's better to write this first, otherwise you get confused because you may have a tendency to write this in that inside. So don't do that. So just write this first and then you substitute. Once you write entropy of something like this, you will know how to substitute. Okay, so write this step before doing this. Don't get confused. So now this is the second value of age. Now third value of age is greater than 40. So greater than 40, how many instances are there? So rest 5 attributes, sorry, 5 instances we have greater than 40, out of which 1, 2 and 3. Okay, 3 of them are positive and we have 1 negative here and 1 more negative here. So 3 positive, 2 negative. So we have 5 by 14 because 5 instances with age greater than 40, and out of this 5, 3 are positive, 2 are negative. Okay, so we write like this. Okay, now we just substitute for entropy. We know if this is the entropy what we are finding, we know that 2 positive, 3 negative means altogether 5 samples, out of which 2 positive. So the proportion is 2 by, so minus 2 by 5 log 2 by 5 minus 3 by 5 log 3 by 5. Okay, so that is what I have written here. Similarly here. So do we need to even substitute this part or can we directly write something? The second term. Anybody? Do I need to substitute and find out the answer, or directly we can write some answer here in the second term? Somebody unmute and say me. Why are you all so quiet? You all got my question.
We can write 1, ma'am.
1, think. What is happening here?
Okay, 0, 0, ma'am.
Yeah, so 4 positive and 0 negative, which means all are belonging to the same class. Of course, entropy is directly 0. So it is just the entire term became 0. Okay, so directly you can write this as 0. Then, but these are having some number of samples in both cases. So we have to write the entropy. Okay, so calculate all that and then finally you got some value which is the information gain of age. Okay, now similarly you have to find the information gain of income, student and credit rating. So will you all try once to find tomorrow for tomorrow's class, I mean the next class, and we'll discuss. Will you all try on your own? Because the problem is we are not seeing each other, right? I'm just telling on the slide. You might get it, but then when you do only, you might know where you're going wrong. So it's better you can try it here. And of course, some would be thinking why we have to discuss all that. We have a package. We just, without even knowing decision tree, I think you would have used it in your minor project and all that. Okay. So of course you have packages, but you should know how underlying what is that principle. Okay. At least with one measure you should know. So other measures, it is just a variation of this. So you will roughly understand why it is coming like this, which attribute is going there, etc. Okay. So maybe we'll stop here. I'll share this data set. Do you want me to put the formula also, or just the data set is fine? Speak up, yaar. What is this? I am asking you to solve it for just these 4 attributes and decide on the root attribute. Okay, not growing further. Just we are trying to find the root attribute. So for that we did calculate the information gain for age. Similarly, I am asking you to find the information gain for income, student and credit rating for the next class for Monday, and we will discuss. Okay, so you want me to just put the data set or you want me to put the formula also? That is my question.
Data set is fine.
Okay. So I'll put the data set. So you all try once, let us see how it is coming. And if you, while solving, if you are getting confused, etc., we'll discuss it in the class. Is that fine? Anything else you want to say? We don't have anything to say. We are just here because you are asking us to come. Is that so?